Hi guys, welcome back to Planet Mithril. My name is Mithril and I am back with another update in my Road to Throne of Skulls blog series, and today I'm going to let you know the army that I'm going to be taking to the upcoming Middle-earth Throne of Skulls in Nottingham at Warhammer World, and discuss the progress I've made so far, what I've still got left to do, and the ideas for a board. So as you guys will probably remember from the first video, I had kind of narrowed down my choices to 5 specific armies, and we had the marching out of Isengard. We had the telling the story of the Fellowship in mini dioramas. There was my tried and true and my beloved Minas Tirith as an option. We also had the Last Alliance. That was an option as well, because who doesn't love a Last Alliance army? And there was also the riding out of Helm's Deep with Theoden, Aragorn, Legolas, and the Rohan Royal Guard. So there was a myriad of factors to consider. I had to consider what there was still to buy, what I would have left to paint, what's already done, what's feasible from a monetary perspective, and what I'm actually going to sit down and get painted, and not procrastinate with my poor ADHD brain, and also what would be like the coolest board. And from that, I have decided, now this still could change depending on what happens if the new edition drops beforehand and anything changes drastically, but the army that I am 99.9% convinced I'm going to be taking the Throne of Skulls is the Saruman's Isengard forces marching out from Isengard in front of the Tower of Orthanc on their way to besiege Helm's Deep.
A new power is rising. Its victory is at hand.
Now, I was more drawn to this mainly from the perspective of I don't think I've actually ever taken a full 1,000 point evil army list to a Throne of Skulls. Obviously, I've done evil lists for Grand Tournaments because you have to have a 700 point list for good and evil. But I've never actually taken an evil list to Throne of Skulls as far as I can remember. I've done Minas Tirith a couple of times, I've done Grey Company, I've done Fellowship a couple of times, Thorin's Company a couple of times, but never actually taken 1,000 points of evil, and 1,000 points of evil army rather than just the hero armies I tend to do because I can make them look really nice, and I'm generally quite lazy. That was kind of my driving force for it, and the idea of taking like the big blocks of pikemen and swordsmen and that really kind of beaten up looking Isengard army really appealed to me for this. It is helped quite a bit by the fact that, as you can see here, 80% of the army is already painted and done. Well, maybe not 80%, because I've still got that warband of Dunlendings over there, which still need painting. We have Saruman on horse. He will have Grima, of course. There is a warband of 5 Uruk-hai Berserkers, 1 Uruk-hai Banner-bearer, 4 Uruk-hai Swordsmen, and 8 Uruk-hai Pikemen. There are 2 Uruk-hai Captains, both with shields. One has a warband of 4 Swordsmen and 8 Pikemen. The other has a warband of 8 crossbows. And we have a warband of Dunlendings, led by a Dunland chieftain, and his warriors are made up of 8 shieldmen and 4 two-handed axes. And because I need a big key feature piece, and they look really damn cool, I've got an Isengard Siege Ballista there as well. I'm not taking the bent version that comes in the Assault on Helm's Deep. Nope, I'm just taking 1 Siege Ballista, because I really like the idea of just like shooting into combats and seeing what I can spear in the back with a giant harpoon. With this iteration of the list, I've got the majority of it all painted, all ready to go. The only thing I have left to do are 4 crossbowmen and the Dunlendings. I need to take issue with one particular person. A person who is very near and dear to my heart, one of my nearest and dearest friends, but somebody who has thrown multiple spanners into the army building process as he possibly can, whilst also making 0 progress on any of his army for Throne of Skulls that he's also attending. It's okay, because apparently he's got a month before he has to start painting, which cue me, Wayne, and him sitting there the night before painting God knows what he's taking. I think it's High Elves. But Jeb, I am officially calling you out as the biggest disruptor to army list building ever. I have managed to make negative progress on my army, and I'll tell you for how. We're discussing army lists, and I'm discussing these ideas, and he goes, if you're going to do that kind of Isengard marching out list, then shouldn't they all have the upright pikes? Because that's the shot you get, and to be fair to him, they look pretty damn cool. And so instead of taking the 2 ranks of 4 swordsmen and 4 lower pikes, to take 2 complete warbands of 12 upright pikes, which I didn't hate the idea of. I was slightly annoyed that then added 6 more models to my to my painting list. But I was set in the knowledge that I didn't have any more Urukai, so I was going to stick with this. And then I'm sorting out the other day, and what do I find? 2 more boxes of Urukai. So that's where we are with that. And then about a week later, we're discussing armies again, and in his infinite wisdom, my dear friend, long-time friend, one of my longest, oldest friends, turns around and goes, "It's not very legion-y, is it? Like, you need legions of Urukai for this list." To which I turn around and I say, no, I'm taking Saruman and Grima, they're as a themey Isengard list. Yeah, okay, fine. Saruman wasn't on horse and didn't go to Helm's Deep, but it's just meant to be capturing that scene in front of the Tower of Orthanc, which is what I really wanted to do. And they take about 200 points on my list. And he said, "You could not do that." Well, you could take more captains and get more warriors in. So cue me going back on the Battlescribe and seeing what list I can make without Saruman and Grima and just having them on the little balcony on my display board. And the list, I think, consisted of, I don't know if I got this right because I haven't got it actually in front of me, but it'll be right in the picture. So just look at the picture, and if I'm not saying the right words, then just look at the picture. But I think it was 4 Urukai captains, 36 pikemen, 10 crossbows, a Dunland chieftain with the Dunland warband, as was 1 banner bearer, and I think it was 9 berserkers, and the siege ballista, of course, as well. I think that's what the list looked out at. Again, adding significantly more to my paint queue, particularly the extra 12 pikemen. And honestly, this is the first time I've kind of put this on the board, and it looks pretty damn cool. So I am unsure which iteration I'm going to go with, but the crux of it is we've decided on a faction. And up until I talked to Jeb, I decided on a list. But that's where we are now. I'm going to focus on the Dunlandings and the extra 6 pikemen, because I'm probably going to do the upright pikemen regardless. But I want to focus on those first, because the Dunland are going to be consistent across both iterations of the army list. They're going to be in whatever happens, so I need to get those done first. But yeah, I've got minimum of 12 Dunlandings, 4 crossbowmen, and if I go over the pikeman block, 6 pikemen. So we're looking at, what's that, 22 models? Which isn't too bad when, the Dunlands aren't too hard to do, and the Urukai are, you can paint a dozen Urukai in an hour if you really wanted to. So I can't, someone else could. So let's go into the board. So I've decided to make, obviously, a circular board portraying that awesome scene where the camera zooms through all the pikemen, Saruman's there giving it large on his little balcony, Tower of Orthanc sitting proudly on the board. So this is what the ideal layout would look like. I'm just settling on an 80 centimeter diameter board. This was because originally I was intending on putting some walls, and as you can see based on the dice, we've got the outer walls marked by the big dice, the inner walls, which are 5 centimeters set in from the outer edge of the board. This would be where the walls would be. This little circle at the top here is where the Tower of Orthanc would be. And I've kind of laid out the models as I would probably position them on the board. We're going to be having them in the blocks, in the warrior blocks, and then having plenty of room for lots of like caverns and like the wooden structures that are dotted around, and really kind of build up that industrial Isengard look that I want to give from this board. Now, I'm not 100% sure on putting the wall in. That might detract too much from actually seeing the army. And I think also, if I do go for the more Uruk list, you're going to have less room anyway, and then less room for pits and like the wooden structures. So I'm unsure about the wall at the moment. But the main thing is, we're building Orthanc. I'm building the Tower of Orthanc, and I've got no idea how I'm going to do that. So if you've got any ideas, hints, tips of how I can do that and not tear my hair out in frustration, please let me know. I would love to hear, because otherwise I'm going to cry. The temptation just to buy the Lego one and put that on is quite high. So paper mache covers all things. But yes, so that is the next update in the Road to Throne of Skulls blog. I apologise it's not a painting tutorial this week. I have been working hard and fast to get loads of this brand new Angmar and Arnor stuff painted and edited together, ready for next week. You can expect 1, hopefully 2 tutorials to drop next week. I've got Iana, I've got Argadir, Aronath, Malbeth and Ardavwi, the Shadow of Rudder, the Orc Heroes, Arnor Warriors, Arnor Cavalry. I've got so many Arnor things and Angmar things on my board at the moment, and I'm rushing to get them all painted for you guys. Also, there was no video last week because it was my birthday, and I do apologise, but I wanted a week off. But yes, so I'll be back later on with another update to my Throne of Skulls blog. Probably be a on the road getting supplies video. I don't know. I haven't decided how I'm going to do this yet. But that is where we are currently. Everyone voice your, I don't know, either support or disdain for Jeb for throwing all the spanners everywhere he possibly can in the comments. I love you really, Jeb. You know I do, but less I. But that is it from me today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed watching. Great to catch up with you and talk to you about what's happening with the tournament lists. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. We have step-by-step painting guides, as well as my ultimate painting conversion chart. And if you want to support the channel, it's a lovely way for you to be able to do that, but absolutely no obligation. And until next time, guys, take care. And as always, happy hobbying. Bye, guys.